With this rhythm guitar lesson, we'll show you how to play a 12-bar funk rhythm progression using 7th chords in any key, along with guitar tabs, chord diagrams, and practice rhythm tracks. We'll cover it all with the step-by-step approach. The first step will be to work on the basic strum pattern. We're going to begin with an A7th bar chord along the 5th fret position. Good idea is to see if you can get a clear sounding arpeggio out of those bottom 5 strings, and if you get the top string, that's a bonus right there. And the key to getting a funk style rhythm is you want to establish a sort of choppy, percussive-like effect when you're strumming, especially if you're playing without a drummer. You got to sort of make up for that, the rhythm. And how we're going to go about that, it's going to start with the down strum and then what I call a chop of the strings. Yeah, we're doing sort of a rest, but we're sounding the strings on that next down strum. So down, and you could either use the pick or the nails of the strumming hand. That time I used the nails, not much of a difference, but that's the beginning of the strum pattern. It's going to go down, chop, and then up, down, and then another chop. Up, down, up, down. So putting that together, down, up, down, up, down. We'll do that again. Down, up, down, up, down. And that would be bar 1 of the 12-bar progression. Now the first 4 bars are all in A, using the A7th chord, but we're going to throw in a variation for bar 2. The variation on the strum pattern for bar 2, we're going to start with the slide up to the A7th. So going down technically to A flat 7th just for a little bit, and then another chop, and then up, down. So the bar 2 rhythm will be this. If we combine that with bar 1 right now, let's do it from the beginning, bars 1 and 2. 1, 2, ready, go. And we'll do that again. 1, 2, ready, go. That's bars 1 through 2. Bars 3 and 4 are repeating bars 1 and 2. So the final challenge in this clip, we're going to play bars 1 through 4. And here we go from the top. 1, 2, ready, go. And let's do one more. 1, 2, ready, go. For bar 5, we have our first chord change. We're going to shift from A7 to a D7th chord. For this voicing, we just focus on those middle 4 strings. The 5th string is the bass note, which is D. And one tip on this chord change is from A7 to D7, if you focus on the 3rd finger, which is on the 5th string right now, 7th fret, to go to D7, kind of keep that finger aligned along the 5th string and just slide it down 2 frets. So that's sort of your pivot point, your focal point. Keep the 3rd finger down, then form the chord shape after that. We're going to apply the same strum pattern. So it'll be down, up, down, up, down, and then the slide variation. So let's do that again. And then for bars 7 and 8, we go back to A7. So it's the reverse. Keep focus on that 3rd finger, makes that transition back to A7th a little easier. So bars 1 through 8 will be 4 measures of A7, 2 measures of D7, and then back to A7th 2 times. And in the next clip, we'll put it all together, bars 1 through 8, and we'll go through it 2 times. For bar 9, we'll introduce our third chord to the progression. That's going to be an E7. Same chord shape as the D7th, just 2 frets higher, D, D sharp, E. Bass note is the 5th string 7th fret. And the key to this, we have to focus first on the transition from the end of bar 8, which was an A7th chord, to switch to E7. Focus on keeping the 3rd finger down on that 5th string 7th fret. Then you can focus on less fingers to play the E7. So if you work on that transition, that'll make things a little easier. The strum pattern, starting with bar 9, is the same strum pattern that we did for bar 1. What we're going to do here is we're going to go to D7 for bar 10. But I'm going to throw in what I refer to as a passing chord en route to the D7th. Here's what I mean. Down, up, down, and then one down strum on the E flat 7th, and then let's put that together. And we'll do one more. That's bars 9 through 10. For bar 11, back to the A7th. And then actually you have the option, you could slide up to that as well. And then for bar 12, we're going to go back to E7th for the turnaround. On the turnaround, sort of rev things up to lead into the next verse. And we're going to change the strum pattern here. So on bar 12, we're going back to E7th, and what I'm going to suggest is this. And how I would strum it sort of starts by focusing just on the lower strings of the bass, and then 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And how you do the downs and ups isn't as important as maybe applying that count. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. And then you start though with a little so it doesn't have to be exactly that, but something close to that that falls within that measure. But let's put together bars 9 through 12 right now, starting with the E7. 1, 2, ready, go. Do that one more time. 1, 2, ready, go. And with that, in the next clip, we're going to put it all together, bars 1 through 12. Quick review of the sequence or the progression. It'll be A7 for 4 bars, D7 for 2 bars, back to A7 for 2 bars, bar 9 E7, bar 10 D7, bar 11 A7, and then bar 12 the E7 turnaround. verse 2, bars 1 through 11 are played the same as they were for verse 1. The only difference between verse 2 and verse 1 will be at bar 12. For verse 2, we're going to substitute an ending for the turnaround. A turnaround at the end of the verse sort of indicates things are going to repeat. But if we keep repeating, eventually we have to end the song. And the ending is going to be just a strummed A 7th chord. Again, we're substituting that for the E7 turnaround. But the one thing I like to do for the ending on this, I like to slide up to it. And that's how the ending is going to sound. And if you want, you can rev it up a little bit as well. But let's connect that, let's back it up a little bit for verse 2. We're going to connect bars 9 through 12 and show you how the ending sounds within those 4 bars. So starting with the E7th. And we'll practice that one more time. And with that, in the next clip, we're going to put it all together. We're going to combine verses 1 through 2. Again, the key is bar 12. Bar 12, verse 1, play the turnaround. And for verse 2, we substitute the ending for the turnaround. One other quick note, at the end of bar 12, at the end of verse 1, when we do that turnaround, you want to really get back to that A7th as quickly as possible to sort of maintain steady tempo. It's a quick chord change after that turnaround. So one little tip there, don't take a rest at the end of verse 1. Get to that A7th as quick as you can to begin verse 2. And with that, you can review verses 1 through 2 in the next clip. Once you have this progression down, the good news is that it's a movable progression. In other words, we can play the same 12-bar progression we just learned in different keys along different fret positions. So if we started with A and moved up 2 frets, A sharp, we would be in the key of B. There's a B 7th chord right there. And everything would be the same, played the same. Everything's just 2 frets higher. And we're going to go over a 2-verse funk style progression in B. We're going to throw in some variations to make it a little more interesting this time. And what I mean by variations, it's going to start on bar 3. So bars 1 and 2 will be played the same, and let's play those now just to get acclimated to B. And for bar 3, we're going to slide up. So a little kind of focusing on the 2, 3, and 4 strings. Even you could include that top string if you happen to strum it, no big deal. So again, that variation on bar 3 is going to sound like this. And then bar 4 will be played the same as the previous progression. So there's a variation on bar 3. Let's put that into the mix. In other words, let's play it from the beginning, bar 1, and hear how it sounds when combined with everything. 1, 2, ready, go. And then for bar 5, everything will be the same. Bars 5 and 6 right there. For bar 7, I would throw in the extension. You don't have to do this extension with the pinky every time I suggest it. If you leave it out, that's fine as long as you keep the rhythm going. But let me back it up to bars 5 and 6 and show you how the extension sounds when we get to bar 7. And there's bar 8. So we've got that extended variation on bars 3 and 7. We can go to bar 9, and the other variation we're going to throw in is we're going to extend this progression to 14 bars. And how we're going to do that is we're going to double up on this sequence. We're going to play that again, but what's kind of neat on this is you might recall how we threw in that passing chord going down to bar 10. There's the passing chord. We're going to play that passing chord again going up as we repeat things, and you can even slide up. So when we extend things, that's actually going to end up being bar 12. Let's back it up to bar 9 and show you how this variation will sound by extending it 2 bars. And then we'll go back home. Again, we could throw in the extension on bar 11. And then the turnaround on bar 12. Maybe a good idea to connect bars 9 through 14 now and show you how that'll sound put together. So here we go. 1, 2, ready, go. Go to verse 2, it'll be very similar to how the approach we used in the previous progression. Actually everything will be the same until the last bar. So this time bars 1 through 13 will be played the same as verse 1. The only difference will be the ending, and like we did the first time, we're just going to strum the B 7th chord. So a good idea, we'll back it up again to bar 9. And this time we're going to end with the ending strum. And we'll hear how that ending strum sounds put together starting from bar 9 of verse 2. 1, 2, ready, go. Now, if you wanted to, you could actually extend this too for an ending. So another option there if you want to throw in a little variation on the ending. So what we'll do next in the next clip is we will put together 2 verses in B. Again, there'll be 14 bar progressions. Remember the turnaround for verse 1 and the ending for verse 2. Now, even though the progression we just covered is movable, it doesn't mean that you can play it in all or any of the 12 keys. That's because you simply can't play a rhythm progression too high up on the fretboard. Now, the movable progression we just covered, I would say you can comfortably play it in about 6 or 7 keys. But in order to play this funk-style rhythm in all 12 keys, we need to vary things up regarding the chord shapes, the running order of chord shapes. And here's what I mean. For this alternate progression we're going to learn, we're going to start with the 7th chord on the middle 4 strings. In fact, it's going to be an E7th. Technically, we're along the 5th fret position with our first finger, but the bass note, that 3rd finger, is on the 5th string 7th fret. So E, and there's the E7th. We'll start with the same strum pattern, and we're going to go back to a 12-bar progression to introduce this one. So bar 1, bar 2, bar 3, bar 4. Now we are in the key of E major, and for those of you who know a little bit of music theory, we need to go to the 4 chord. So if you want to pause the video and figure out what is the 4 chord, and in fact, what 4 chord would you suggest going to, pause the video, see if you can figure it out. Otherwise, we're going to tell you right now. The 4 chord in the key of E is A, so we need to go to an A7th. And what we're going to do is simply revert back to that A7th we used in the previous progression. But now that's going to be used for bars 5 and 6. Then back to E. The key here, again, keeping the 3rd finger down. That'll cover bars 1 through 8. We go to B7th now for bar 9, and that'll simply be A, 2 frets higher. So bar 9. There's our passing chord right there. And back to E7 for bar 11. And then bar 12 will be the 5 chord, which in this case is B7. So since this is new, maybe we'll cover it from starting from bar 9, we'll go through bars 9 through 12, starting with the B7. With this progression, we're reverting back to a 12-bar progression. And before we put verses 1 and 2 together, we'll give you some tips on verse 2. Just like with the very first progression, we substitute in bar 12 the ending for the turnaround. So instead of B7th, we'll just stay on E7th. Maybe a little slide up to that. And how that'll sound backing up to bar 9. Verse 2, bar 9, bar 10, bar 11. So with that, we'll try out this different approach to the funk style rhythm. In the next clip, we'll do 2 verses in the key of E. Now this 12-bar progression is also movable. We can play it along different fret positions or different keys. So what we'll do next is we'll just go down 1 fret. So from E to E flat. There's an E flat 7th chord voicing there. What we'll do with this progression, we'll extend it to 14 bars like we did earlier. And we're also going to throw in a bunch of variations as well. Bars 1 and 2 will be the same. And then we're going to throw in the extension here. Now this is a slightly different sounding chord than what we did earlier with that other extension. This is actually an E flat 7th with the sharpened 9th. Hearing chord and how it sounds with bar 3. And then bar 4. So maybe we'll back it up to bar 1 and show you how this sounds within the first 4 bars. 1, 2, ready, go. Bars 5 and 6, again we can throw in some extensions. We did that earlier. Then bars 7 and 8. Again, you don't have to do the extensions. Again, if it feels better at the moment to occasionally delete an extension, no problem with that. And then as we go to bar 9, we extend this progression to 14 bars by doubling up on this resolution here. Bar 9, bar 10, and here's the extension. Bar 11, bar 12, bar 13, and then the turnaround. Now you could use that extension with the pinky. Kind of makes it a little bit more tense when you throw down that pinky finger. Again, with or without the pinky down, these are both B 7th chord, I should say B flat 7th chord voicings. You might want to try that for a different turnaround. But let's back it up a little bit to bar 9 with the extensions, just to show you how they'll sound here. 1, 2, ready, go. Go through this one more time, but I have yet another idea to throw in regarding a variation on this, and that's throwing a little stop time rhythm. What I mean by that is on bar 12, which will be the A flat 7th, we don't necessarily sound the chord. Check this out. I'm going to back it up to bar 11. So you're still keeping steady time, but we're just sort of getting even choppier for what is bar number 12 here. Let's show you how that'll sound. I'll start again from bar 9 as we resolve it, same progression, but we're going to throw in that choppy deal for bar 12. So here's bar 9. Now we can do that with the extensions as well. Playing by feel that time. I did not do the extension. Again, you'll vary it up to whatever you're comfortable doing. So with all those ideas, let's put it all together in the next clip. 2 verses in the key of E flat, and we're going to extend it to 14 bars each verse, and we'll also throw in those variations. Now, to summarize this lesson, we showed you two 12-bar movable funk-style rhythm progressions. And with only 12 keys, technically that means you could play any of the 12 keys two different ways. But again, you can't play too high or too low on the fretboard with some of these progressions. Going back to the first one we covered, where we started on the bottom string with the 6th-string bass note and then shifted to the other 7th chord shapes, that particular progression, you could probably play it, I would say, in 8 different keys, starting from the 2nd fret, 2, 3, 4, 5, or if we count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, I would say up to the 9th fret position. That's 8 potential keys. You could play that progression in. We covered A and B in this lesson. With the other progression, starting with the middle 4 strings, we could start that along the 1st fret position and work up to the 9th. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 potential keys we could try with that progression. Again, in this lesson we did examples in E and E flat. So lots of options for you to practice as far as trying out these progressions in different keys. And in addition, we can apply this concept to different styles of music as well. So if you want, you can review my other lessons on movable progressions. One of them involves playing a movable 12-bar blues shuffle in any key. And some other ones would also include playing flamenco progressions in different keys as well.